Hi everyone, I'm Faye. Welcome to this video. Today we are talking about Beauty Pie. Now if you're here watching this video, it's probably because you've heard of Beauty Pie and you're wondering if it is worth it. Now Beauty Pie is a kind of subscription service where you pay a set amount each month, but you get to choose the products that you want. So however much you pay each month gives you a certain allowance to spend on their website, and then you just pick things and order them like you would off any other website. If you don't spend your allowance each month, it doesn't go away, it just builds up and builds up and builds up. So I think it's, a really sensible and smart idea, because a lot of subscription services, you just pay an amount, they send you random products and you have no choice. With this, you get all the choice that you want, you can buy whatever you want. They have skincare, they have makeup, they have candles, they have perfume, they've expanded their range a lot. And they seem to be doing really, really well, which I think is a testament to the fact they have some really good products. They also have some terrible products. I'm just going to throw that out there. And I think they overall do better with their skincare than they do with their makeup. I've encountered more issues with the makeup than I have with all of the skincare that I have tried. But today we're talking about makeup, and we're going to talk about some products that have really impressed me, as in blown me away. And now my favourite products, not just from Beauty Pie, but out of all of my makeup, stuff that I just want to use every time I do my makeup, and some stuff that really bummed me out and disappointed me. So instead of doing everything good and then everything bad and finishing really depressing, what we're going to do is we're going to alternate, just so that it's a more even tone throughout the video. Okay, so let's get started with something that I'm super excited about. I actually just put it in my monthly favourites if you've seen that, and it is the Pro Glow Strobing Drops. These are gorgeous, and I'm going to show me applying them so that you can see how it goes on. Now the beauty of these is that they are pigmented and they blend really well. Now that is a hard combination to achieve. If you've ever tried the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops, you will know that they are super, super pigmented, but they dry down really fast and they can actually be very difficult to blend and to work with. And when I use those, I typically combine them with a much more natural, glowy, dewy, liquidy type of formula, either something that's designed to be a glowy mixer, a glowy base before you put on your makeup, or a highlight like the Gosh Lumi Drops, which is a very subtle highlight. And I mix the two together to make a formula that's blendable but still pigmented. With this, none of that mixing and customizing is necessary. These apply like a dream. They're pigmented, but they don't dry down too quickly. They blend with a sponge, they blend with a brush. I've applied them over multiple different foundations now. None of my foundations have broken up, which can also be a problem with liquid highlight sometimes. If it's got oils and things in, it can break down your foundation and then you have a bit of a patchy situation and you lose coverage. I have had no issues like that with this. Now, you can probably see from the shade of this that it is a little bit dark for me to be a traditional just highlight. This is more of a very, very glowy bronzer on my skin tone, but I am happy to use it that way. And the reason for that is because I bought the darker shade. There's only two shades. There's this one, which is Illuminati, and there's another one which is called AstroTurf or AstroSurf. AstroTurf? There's two, basically. This is the darker one, but it also has a much more golden, bronzy, peachy kind of tone. The other one is lighter, but it's pink. And I may have pale skin, but pink highlight just looks wrong on my skin tone. It just doesn't look right. I like to stick to pale golds, pale peaches, and in this case, bronze as a very glowy bronzer. But honestly, I don't actually have anything of this exact tone. I don't have many liquid, dewy, glowy bronzers, and it's summer, so I'm very, very happy that I bought this shade. I think this shade works for me much better than if, I got the pink shade, because the pink's highlights just look wrong on me. But basically, I'm just super impressed with the formula and the way this blends. It just blends so beautifully, and I don't have to use any of my liquid highlighter tips and tricks in order to use it. So if you're a beginner, you could buy these and use these no problem. You're not going to need any particular experience or skill to make this work, and I think it's a massive, massive success. Okay, so now we have to talk about something that I don't like. And something that I don't like is an eyeshadow palette that I got from them. This is the 10 best matte eyeshadow shades. I can tell you right now, it is not the 10 best of anything. So these are the shades, and I was hoping they'd just be like nice, matte, neutral, good for a matte, smoky eye, good for just like when I'm using other glitters and metallics, but I want something matte, I can just dip in here for the whatever. No, 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 no. This is really shockingly bad. First of all, these might look like different colours to you, but so many of them, when you try and blend them, are just exactly the same. And a lot of them are incredibly grey. Now, there's nothing wrong with a cool toned eyeshadow, but these are unflatteringly grey. And in terms of the pigmentation and the blendability, they just blend terribly. They go patchy. They don't stay separate, if you know what I mean. When you put different colours of eyeshadow on and then you want to blend them together, you want to be able to blend the boundary so that you've got a gradient and it changes gradually from one shade to another, but you don't want to blend them together to the point where you can no longer distinguish one shade from the other. Now, however careful you are, that is what happens with these eyeshadows. They just blend into one big mess. And the only thing I've been able to find this useful or effective for was I did a 40s makeup look, and 40s eyeshadow was just like basic grey brown matte blended together, smudgy, done, because they didn't have like a ton of different eyeshadows in the 40s. And that's the only thing it's been useful for. And apart from that, it's a massive disappointment and I would just avoid it. Okay, good. Back to talking about something I like. And what I do like, love in fact, is the Wondergloss. Now these are a lip oil gel type of gloss. I've already got it on my lips over the top of this Beauty Pie lip liner in Damsel. This isn't not one of my top 5 products, but it is good. It's just, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not in my top 5 because it's a good lip liner and I don't think it stands out particularly above other good lip liners. I mean, don't think good lip liners are that hard to find. These are all, in my top 5, these are all products that like excite me level of good. So this is just a beautiful, beautiful gloss. Because it's that kind of gel oil formula, it's not all gloopy and sticky and like horrible. Like I can just, to my heart's content, and there's no ugh. It doesn't gather and bunch and go all gloopy and gross. Like, I was in high school in the early to mid noughties and gloss was a big deal and everyone had those like Lancome juicy tubes. Well, I say everyone. The people who could afford them had Lancome juicy tubes and everyone else had knockoff ones. And I never really got into like the gloss trend back then because I honestly hated the way they felt. I just hated it. Now, this is gloss, so it is still, you know, obviously has a level of damp wetness to it. So if you go out in the wind with your hair down, your hair is still going to stick to your mouth. I don't think they're ever going to solve that problem. But in terms of like gloopy stickiness, you do not have to worry at all. And to be honest, you could even include this in a skincare category because they feel so nourishing and hydrating. And I have really dry lips and these just feel so nice. Plus you can see I've put it on top of lip liner, and although it's kind of a lip oil, it hasn't broken down the lip liner at all. So, you know, you can just whack this on top of anything you want to make your lip glossy, and they're brilliant and they're so comfortable and I love them. Okay, back to something disappointing that I think deserves to be in the bottom 5, and that is the Super Translucent Loose Setting Powder. Is this a terrible setting powder? No, but it claims to be see-through and it's not. I will show you. That is not see-through powder. That is tinted powder and it is slightly yellow. Perhaps you can see a little bit better here what's on the lid. Now, I will give it to them. The packaging on this is really good. I love the sifting mechanism. I think the packaging is great. I mean, Beauty Pie overall, I think, do really great packaging. It's minimal, it's sensible, it's functional, and personally, I really like that aesthetic. But if I buy a translucent see-through powder, it needs to actually be see-through because I'm pale. And I cannot use this under my eyes because it is yellow and it makes my concealer darken and it doesn't look good. And you know, I can use it on the periphery of my face, but then I have to get two powders out and use one in the center and one around the outside. And I will do that because I have it now and I want to at least, you know, use it rather than it just sitting there and not getting used. So it's not like I'm never going to use it. I will use it combined with like a different, like actually translucent powder in the center of my face. But I mean, if you obviously if you have less pale skin than me, you might think this is fine, but I don't think you should claim that something is see-through when it's not. Okay, good, I get to go back to something that I really like. Another thing that I really like is the Quick Contour Colour, oh my god, long name, Quick Colour Contour Supergel. This is a cream contour product and I'll cut to me applying this so that you can see. First of all, it has great packaging. Like I said, Beauty Pie do great on the packaging. It has a little twist thing at the top, so it has an off position and an on position. If you try and squeeze the tube while it's in the off position, no product will come out, which is great because it means you can travel with it and not worry about it going anywhere. And then you twist it to the on position, you squeeze it, product comes out the top. I'm not a big fan of the whole sponge tip thing because it's, to me, not the most hygienic. I have the same problem with the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer. Like, I'd rather it didn't have that sponge tip, but I'm not going to get too mad about it. Now, if you want a super pigmented contour, this is probably not for you. Here on my channel and in my life, I am all about makeup that looks good in person, in the real world. If you're doing your makeup just to take pictures, you can go in for a really strong pigmented contour. You can even completely change the shape of features on your face. Like, you've seen people contour their nose so it looks a completely different shape. It's an incredible talent and it looks great in pictures because in pictures you're still and you have lighting coming at you from where you want it to come at you from, right? In the real world, if you had contour like that, as soon as someone saw you from a different angle, like, it would be so obvious. Like, once you're out there in the real world moving around, like, a super pigmented contour is just gonna be obviously contour. So in terms of contour for real world situations and for just looking good outside with people who can see you in person, you wanna do something more subtle and you wanna make sure your product also has the right undertone where it's not too grey and it's not also too warm. Now, this, I think, like the highlighting drops, is basically a foolproof kind of product because although it looks reasonably pigmented when you put it on, it blends out to be quite a sheer, natural kind of coverage. And so you can put quite a bit of this on, you know, you can accidentally go a bit over the top and it's not going to be an issue. You'll see here, I mean, with mine, I sort of was blending it with a sponge. Usually I use a brush to blend my contour, but I need to wash my brushes. So I was using my sponge and that meant I had a bit less control over where the product went. So I cleaned it up with some concealer and you can see it's not the most crazy pigmented contour ever. And it's not going to be something that you're going to want to use if you're trying to completely change the shape of your nose or something for a photo. But if you're looking for a contour to wear in the real world, I think this is great. And that's what I'm about. I'm about makeup that looks good to the person who's standing right next to you. So yeah, I love this, and now this is my favourite cream contour. Okay, now I have to talk about something that I don't like again. So whilst their liquid highlight is really good, I'm really not a fan of their compact pressed highlight. You can see it here. It looks pretty in the pan, right? This is the Pro Glow Highlighter Illuminating Powder in Cosmic Shine. Now, it looks pretty. Again, it's a bit dark for me. Like, this is too dark for my skin tone, really. But that's not my complaint, because that's just a skin tone thing. My complaint is that, first of all, it feels kind of dry and rough, like when you run your finger through it. And then, whilst it swatches pretty nice, you see, there you go. Hopefully you can see that. You can see the colour. You can see that it's quite pretty. You know, if you had a slightly deeper skin tone than mine, it looks nice. The problem is that you don't swatch it with your finger onto your face. You use a brush, a sponge, something like that. So I take a highlighter brush that I use with all sorts of products, which I used today, sorry about that weird noise, which I used today with my favourite Laura Mercier powder highlighter, just to add a little bit of lightness on top of that liquid highlight that, like I said, is slightly too dark for me. Applied it beautifully. This is a brush that I use all the time. Okay, so first of all, I don't know if you can see the glitter just like flying off there. What happened? It's not there. It just doesn't, it just doesn't work. Like, I'm like gonna put a ton on my brush now. Like, ugh. It's powdery, it's just flaky, and now it's not concentrated, so now it's just like a weird dry glitter. It just doesn't apply well. Like, I don't care if it swatches well. That's not what I'm doing with it. What I'm doing with it is putting it on my face with a brush, and it's just pointless, it's just useless, it just doesn't work, and that's really disappointing. Also, the packaging is like really chunky and I'm not even sure why. But yeah, that's just kind of a pain. Like, having gone in with it several times, there's like a bit of a glow there on my hand now, but I can also see like pieces of glitter, which I don't want. I just want it to apply more like it swatches, and I have found no way of making it apply like that. So it goes in the bottom 5 pile. Okay, top 5. The setting spray. This is the Fresh Glow Breathable setting spray. Don't really know what it means by breathable. Like, are other sprays not breathable? I don't know. Anyway, this is a great setting spray, and the reason I say it's a great setting spray is because it genuinely makes my makeup last longer. Now, you can use this as a base, you can use it over the top. The mister is fine. It smells really nice as well, actually. Oh, okay. I've swatched highlight all over my fingers, which are now getting all over my spray bottle, but I will clean that in a minute. But it's really, really nice. Really fine. And it's definitely more of a dewy, glowy kind of finish than matte, but it does make the makeup last longer. And you can use, like I said, I don't know, did I say this already? You can use it underneath your makeup. So I used it underneath my makeup today as sort of a priming spray, and you can also use it like that, and it works. And that's what I care about, right? Is that it works, and it does. Back to something that I don't like. Okay, what have I talked about so far? Let me check. I'm losing my mind today, to be honest. Like, I hurt my neck and my shoulder, and so the doctor gave me like a whole bunch of like drugs and painkillers and anti-spasmy things, and now I'm like a little bit flaky and out of it, so I'm losing track of things, but never mind. Something that was also really, really terrible, the Everyday Great Skin Foundation. I'm not going to talk about this a ton here because I have a whole like application and review demo video of this foundation where you can see me applying it a bunch of different ways. You can see me with a full face after putting this on. You can see me in like natural sunlight after putting this on, and you can see for yourself all of the issues. And if you want to watch that video, I will link it down below. But just to summarize, the shade range is terrible. The undertones of the shades are terrible. It oxidizes. It feels kind of cakey and heavy, but it only gives light coverage. The end. Okay. So the last of my 5 products that I really, 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 really love, I'm going to show you on my lips, so I need to just wipe my lips so that I can take this off so that I can apply the other thing so that you can see it. Okay, that will do. Which colour do I want? Not that one. I want the neutral one. This is a beautiful, beautiful lipstick. These are the Future Lipstick Luxe Shine, and they have a beautiful, beautiful formula. Now this is Master Sweet. And you can see that is a lipstick with some gloss to it. That is a shine. And it is just so lovely. Like, this shade is a beautiful nude. This is like my handbag lipstick, you know, the lipstick you can add on any day, anywhere, to any look, as your lipstick starts to wear down, you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna pop this one on and I'm good to go. Like, I really like the twist up packaging and the shape of the top. It's like not too big, and you can basically put this lipstick on without really paying attention. You don't honestly need to find a mirror to put this on, you can just whack it on. Like I say, this colour is a beautiful nude for me, but there's also a bunch of other shades which are a bit more in your face. So this is Total Riot. It's the same formula, but it's a beautiful, beautiful red. It's a slightly pink undertone, and I wore this all the time at Christmas. This was like one of my 3 lipsticks probably that I used over like a 10-day Christmas period because it's just so beautiful. Let me swatch it for you. Let me just swatch it for you. Look at that. It's pigmented, it's glossy, it's hydrating. Now obviously with a glossy hydrating lipstick formula, it's not going to be the most long-lasting thing ever. That's just a fact of hydrating stick traditional formula lipsticks. You are going to have to reapply them. But when reapplying them is so easy, and they feel so comfortable on the lips, and they have such beautiful pigmentation and beautiful colour, I don't care about that. I think these are great. Absolutely wonderful. I love them. Love them. I kind of want to buy like every single shade, you know? Okay, so I had a hard time deciding on my final sucky product, basically, because I have 2, and I'm still honestly looking at them and being like, which one do I pick? But I think I'm gonna go with this concealer. I think this concealer is pretty bad. So this is the Incrediblur Concealer, and this is a twist up stick formula concealer. I also have the little potted one, which I prefer. I prefer the one in the pot. You can apply it with a little brush, or your concealer brush, your finger, something like that. This one is dry. That's my problem with it. You would think something in a stick formula like this that kind of looks like a lipstick would be more hydrating, but it's just dry. Like, there we go. I've popped it on my hand here. Looks fine. Start trying to blend it out, but when you feel it, it feels dry. And okay, yeah, it looks all right on my hand there, but it made my under eyes look terrible. Terrible. I'm actually gonna do a full face of beauty pie makeup video so that you can see not just the top ones, but the things like this in action, so that you can see more of what I mean. And also like all the products in the middle that are perfectly good and lovely, they just, you know, don't make the top 5, and I think they're worth talking about as well. So I'm gonna do a full face of makeup one day. But this concealer is just drying and weird, and I hate the texture of it. And as you blend it out, it doesn't even give you very much coverage. So just don't know where I would use it, because it doesn't cover enough to put it on blemishes. It's too drying to put under my eyes. It's just not a good formula. Like, the formula is just not impressing me. Not impressing me at all. Okay, so I know this was top 5, bottom 5, but I guess I kind of have 6 products. So I'm just gonna throw them in there as being close runners up, things that almost made the top 5 and the bottom 5. Something that almost made the bottom 5 was actually the One Powder Wonder. And I know, it's a product everyone raves about, and it's actually the reason that I got a Beauty Pie account was to buy this product. Because I saw so many good reviews of it, and it was so unique and interesting, and it is like super like translucent, like you basically cannot see it at all. And it really confused me when I first bought it, because I was putting my brush in it and then I couldn't see it on my brush. Like, it didn't show up on my brush. I was like, am I picking up any product? But you are picking up product. It just genuinely is see-through. So if you're someone with a darker skin tone and you struggle with powders being too light and showing up on your skin, something like this might work. Apart from the fact that it doesn't really set your makeup. Like, it's supposed to be a different kind of generation of setting powder that looks super natural, gives you a really soft finish, doesn't look really matte, isn't really drying. But I still need something to set my face with, and it doesn't set my face. Like, again, like with the other powder, I can use this on the periphery of my face. If I want a really soft finish, that is not super matte and an area of my face that doesn't need to be super set down, like the periphery, where I don't have concealer, I don't have my face moving a whole lot and creasing up the product, and I don't have a whole lot of oil, it's fine. For the center of the face where there's oil, where there's like lines, where my face moved, where I've put concealer, just forget it, because it doesn't actually set stuff down, not in the same way as this or you know, the one I didn't like, the other translucent powder that Beauty Pie has here, the loose one that's too yellow. Like, at least that sets the makeup. Like, my experience with this is it just doesn't really set anything, and then that kind of makes a setting powder pointless. But it is usable around the peripheries, and maybe there are people who love it if it works for them. Like, there's people who love it, and like, I've tried it so many ways, guys, and I just can't love it. I wanted to, like, I was super excited to purchase it and try it, and it just doesn't set stuff. Like, that's I don't know what else to say. Like, if you have really mature, dry skin, maybe it's for you, but it's certainly not for me. And the product that almost made my top 5 is the Smart Powder Blush. These are really lovely, really pigmented, really blendable. They come in some really nice shades, including some slightly darker shades. And what's this? This is the shade Go Rouge. I'm wearing it just a little bit today on the center of my face, and it's a really high quality blush. Okay, but I have lots of blushes. Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with blush. Like, if you've watched my other videos, you probably know that I'm really obsessed with cream blush, powder blush, putting blush all over my face. Like, I use a lot of blush. But I really, really like this one, and I do use it quite a lot. Okay, so that was my Beauty Pie top 5 and bottom 5. I hope this was helpful and useful to you. Please check out some of my other videos. Like I say, I have a whole review of this where you can see why I don't like it. And I also will be doing a top 5, bottom 5 Beauty Pie skincare next week. Okay, bye guys.